How ready are we for the rains that are going to be descending? Yesterday was a 2 hour. I don't think it rained for 2 hours. How long did it rain? Probably an hour.
Maybe an hour, yes.
It was, of course, the flooding isn't that wild in the sense that after like a couple of hours, the water gets off. But the wind, the trees, the gutters, the rubbish. I saw a video of a man emptying his refuse into the rain waters.
Terrible stuff.
Some of the human behavior. Like, how are we going to cope with the rains? Because, look, it rained quite a bit last year.
Yeah.
And we are told it's going to rain a bit more this year.
Yeah.
We are not resilient when it comes to urban planning. There's a lot of flooding that's going to happen. There's a massive $200 million Gary project, which the public has no real idea about. Now, there's no way you are going to spend $200 million on something that's going to work if the public don't have a behavioral role function.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to ask listeners, what do you know about Garrett?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, this is the thing with Ghana. We have a big problem. We write a nice proposal. Somebody gives us a lot of money. And we believe that's the solution. It's not going to happen. Yeah. Now, two things. If you're going to spend $200 million on anything, the public has to know what it's about, particularly when it has to do with flood control, disaster management, urban resilience. Now, you sitting here, you are a leading journalist in Ghana. Do you know anything about Garrett project? Because that seems to be the main answer. I remember when I asked Information Minister, actually, Works and Housing Minister, during my interview with him last week and a half, about flooding. He said the Garrett project was the main project. Do you know anything about the Garrett project?
I know that it costs, we got $200 million.
That's all you know.
Funding.
Do you know what it enjoins you to do or what they are trying to get you to do? You don't know. That's my issue. So this is the thing. We throw money at problems. We have a nice proposal. We have nice executive wearing suit. Watch a video. I was watching 30 Minutes yesterday. Somebody took boiler.
Yeah.
And emptied it into the water that was running. A serious country that wants to really deal with flooding, that guy should be talking to the police. It's a video that's circulating. They should find him. And there should be a whole community engagement on such, I want a word that is good for radio, such foolish behavior. Now, I don't know if there's a behavioral change component of that project. Watch the news yesterday as the water started flowing. Refuse in all our gutters. Who puts the refuse there? That's my challenge. We are going to spend $200 million doing what? What is the solution in terms of human behavior? We need to deal with that as well. And I don't think there is that urgency. Every now and again, somebody comes, maybe Minister for Greater Accra region or a sanitation minister, then says, okay, let's do cleaning Accra once a week, once a month kind of thing. It fizzles out. There's no coordinated behavioral change strategy. Meanwhile, it rains everywhere. But the effect doesn't happen the same way everywhere. Because here in Ghana, we've allowed people to legislate their foolishness, where people can decide to pour rubbish anywhere. There's no recourse for nothing. Local government doesn't work. The assemblies are powerless. All we have is Rambo-style attempts to clamp down. After 2-3 weeks, everything goes back to normal. We cannot proceed like this. So don't mention projects to me if I don't know the behavior you want people to change. So what are the 3 top things you want to change?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a project of that scope which just involves dredging and building of drains. You need to talk to people about how they live. Where is the behavioral change component? I don't have it. So please, listeners, let's know what you know about Garrett. Because for me, I'm picking on them because, Charlie, this is not 200 million cedis. Oh. Multiply it by
$100 million.
Bro, where are the drains? Where are the dredges? Mm-hmm. Where are the adverts? Where are the... What are we supposed to do? Right? You can't just tell us that there's a project that the World Bank is sponsoring, therefore it means that we are going to deal with flooding. No. We need some specific answers on the human behavior component. Yesterday, after a few rains, look at the refuse that came out of our gutters. Yep. It was floating and this is supposed to be the Odor River and other ancillary water bodies. So please, managers of the Gary project, come out and tell us what you are doing. Don't just tell us you have a project that's 200 million and therefore you're going to deal with flooding. No, you can't even deal with flooding if the media doesn't get involved. You can't deal with flooding if you don't do public sector announcements. If you can't deal with flooding, it's not just dredging. It's like in Ghana, let's get the money to be thrown at the things that we can make money from. So let's say we are building. No, you can dredge the Odor for 1,000 years. If people keep putting refuse back in it, it's not going to change flooding. Do you get my angle? Yeah. People must take responsibility, and we have to use. It's like the lack of street lights. Yes, the government has provided street lights, but you also cannot allow people to just go and steal the lights. So there has to be a behavioral change component, which includes enforcement. Where is the enforcement dimension of the Garrett project? What are we going to enforce? Where is the sanitation police? Where are the people who are supposed to make sure that when it rains, people don't do those bad things they do? Right? Where are the regulations around how to build? Around how to make sure that your house is not full of concrete and that you've left buffers and trees? Where are those regulations? How? So you're just announcing that you are going to do Garrett and therefore flooding will be dealt with, or the media will left you off the hook and therefore we should just stop talking about flooding? No, you can't do that. You have to have a specific dimension which influences people's behavior. You have to make examples.
Mm-hmm.
You should watch 30 minutes yesterday.
Well, I mean, I saw the video. It was really, really sad. I remember, was it last year or so, there was a similar incident when it was raining and a woman came out of her house to pour rubbish into the drain or the gutter. You're right. A key part of solving this flooding problem is human behavior. Because once the gutters are choked, we are setting ourselves up for a problem. Of course, there's a high level of human behavior that requires that people should not build where they shouldn't build. But the point is, that is on the city authorities and those in charge to ensure that people are not building in the wrong places. But at the bottom of that pyramid is just simple behavior change so people do not litter their environment. But of course, there's an aspect which I believe hangs on, again, the city authorities. Why don't we have enough waste bins around? Why don't we have enough waste bins around? When you move up slightly, what are we doing to the landfill sites? What are we doing in terms of recycling? Because when you look at the waste that is generated in Accra, 90% of it is plastics and polythene. What are we doing to ensure that if we can't stop using them completely, we can find a way of recycling or having a way of reusing them? We have I know that there's a recycling plant if you are going to Kolebu. How many of them do we have? What's the policy on recycling?
So you can't have a resilient and integrated development project without a recycling component.
What are we doing in terms of using other things? Paper, for example. What is our policy on paper? What are we doing? What are we doing to shift people away from plastics? So
in countries that I've lived in, sometimes when you go to a shop like a supermarket to buy something, when you bring your own paper bag, there's a discount. When you ask for polythene or plastic,
you pay more.
You are charged more. So to disincentivize the use of plastics, we don't have anything.
We need to think about that. I don't think we've sat down to figure out what is our problem. The problem is that the plastics are heavy. They are the ones that are not degradable. They are the ones floating all around in the water whenever it rains. So you have choked gutters. Then you layer this plastic menace. Then you layer the building in all kinds of places. Then you layer a certain lack of supervision. When you put all of that in a blender, this is what you have. Year in, year out, Accra is becoming less and less resilient. Now, when it rains for 2 hours, back in the day, it had to rain for days for us to see this level of flooding. Now, it rains for a few hours. That's it.
So the project talks about improving flood risk and solid waste management in the Odo Basin. Improve access to basic infrastructure and services in targeted flood-prone low-income communities. My point, which I want to reiterate at the sake of sound like a risk of like a broken record, is that where is the behavioral change part? What role does the media play in this project? You cannot just build drains, dredge gutters, make sure there are rubbish bins when people's mindsets about climate resilience has not been put in place. The way people think and behave in our communities. So go to Circle, go to average trotro stations, go to slum communities adjacent to the motorway. People don't have toilets in their homes. Our gutters are choked with polythene bags filled with feces. That's a problem. You cannot tell me that that's not an issue with sanitation and flooding. Ghana's wash credentials are at the bottom. Water, sanitation. We are like on most counts. All right. You have these Aboboya which carry baller. They still carry it. Look at this. Look at this vehicle. Does this look like a country serious about collecting refuse?
No.
You have this truck.
When did I see you? This was Tuesday. This was Sunday. On our way to church. There were two of these things, these contraptions, side by side.
So it's a tricycle or a sort of a tricycle with a bucket. Yes. But the bucket is so short that they put plywood I mean, think about it. You are carrying waste. You've not segregated the waste. In 2024, uneducated young men wearing singlets put plywood in these contraptions to ostensibly hold refuse.
Yes.
And they drive from one part of Accra
And
to
then
the
by
other.
the time they are done, half the rubbish is on the street.
How?
That's what I saw around Tommy.
I mean, are you facing it out? Are you giving regulation? Are you telling me that in a serious country, look, is this thing even qualified to collect rubbish?
No way.
Even if it's going to collect rubbish, what are the standards? What kind of rubbish can it collect? Maybe the rubbish should be in special containers. Then they use mosquito nets sometimes to cover the top of it. In Accra. And yet you say you are doing a big project. I mean, don't you start with the low-hanging fruits? I'm not saying don't dredge. I'm not saying don't do like drainage issues. But the way you even collect bola in Accra.
You know, that's why I was making a point about our waste disposal. We need to have serious conversations around different arms and legs. And the fact that we've turned a blind eye is why we are paying the price we are paying. It's why this city is struggling to develop. It is why this country is facing all kinds of problems. You live in Accra the year 2024, when it rains for 2 hours, there's a problem. How?
It's terrible. Meanwhile, there are zoned flood-prone communities. We know the things they do. We know the effect of the rain. We're going to wait, and then when there's a disaster, we'll go there and take pictures. And then you turn around and blame the media. I'm sitting here. I'm one of the guys who hosts shows that talks a lot about sanitation. Not one. I don't even mind anybody even telling us that, oh, here's a summary of what we do on this project, and this is your role as media. Nothing. You get it? They will. So, but then when something goes wrong, they will say, oh, the media is the one that always defends the people. Where is the plan? You cannot have behavioral change or a social marketing campaign without involving any communication aspect. Where is the billboard telling people what to do with sanitation? Where are the information vans in the communities, in the markets, telling people that we are in March, the sun is shining, by May it will start raining, these are the things we should stop doing? Where are the educative videos on local media channels telling us about what to do and what not to do as the rains come? Where are the information and sanitation officers in the trotros going about talking to people about what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do? Where are all those things? Where are those things? Yet we announced Gary Project launch to make those climate resilience. No. Less than 2 hours of rain. Now we are not resilient as a capital. Now juxtapose this with an audacious promise to make Accra the cleanest city. For me, as somebody who loves the environment, I think it's painful for the president to say that he would make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. It's not even the cleanest city in Ghana. It's the dirtiest city in this part of the country. You understand? And nobody's taking responsibility. Now, how do you make a promise like that and not pin one person to it? No. You create a sanitation ministry. Do you even know who your sanitation minister is as we speak? Do you understand? It's terrible. If listeners will send you photos of refuse in Okponglo to Legon, Akebola, everywhere. Drive on the what do you call this road? The road from Ring Road Central. Get to Asylum down.
Everywhere.
Look at the drain on the left and the right. Atrocious. Do you understand?
Everywhere.
Yet we are attending conferences every day. Yet we are budgeting money for projects and programs. Are we serious? You go on social media and see people's misbehavior with refuse. Go to a typical trotro station. I still drive in Accra and people eat and leave the yogurt outside. Like, I don't understand. You are in a car going in traffic. Yeah, a human being who has been educated has eaten granite and decides that he will throw the granite on the street. How? Like, how do people think? We have a mindset problem, a behavior problem, and it's like we are allowing this type of thing to go on with no responsibility.
Yeah.
What is the government afraid of? Educate people. When COVID came, we had megaphones. You went to communities, told them about risky behavior. Why aren't you telling people to stop putting refuse in gutters? Why aren't you enforcing the law? Why aren't you giving them bola? Why are you allowing this abominable aboboya to be running our streets amok with refuse redistribution programs where they basically pour all kinds of bola in a vehicle that's not meant? You use plywood In every civilized society, when you're carrying refuse, it must be even in a properly contained, covered, what do you call it, system. Is it that our education doesn't tell us that filth is causing sickness, cholera, and all these things? What's wrong with us? Don't we have public health officials? What are the public health nurses doing? You go to places and people are living in tandem with bola. People are selling on streets. They put the food on the floor next to where they sell the vegetable. There's a big drain, and they say when you eat water near a gutter, it tastes better. This is a society that is not civilized, and people who have university degrees laugh at these things. That watch it here, say auto bola and chair, and as auto got and chair there. How do you have a society like this? People, what is wrong with us? So now when the water doesn't flow for 2-3 days, people still build houses in Accra without toilets. How do you do that? And there are local officials who are supposed to be managing this. You are supposed to have assemblies. What are the assemblies doing? So the sanitation officers in the assemblies, what work do they do? What public education? How do you have people build houses without toilets in 2025, 2024? I don't understand it. And we live in this. So is it that our education doesn't tell us that filth will cause sickness? I didn't get a time boom. How do you allow these guys to be riding aboboya around town? And sometimes when they go and the aboboya gets spoiled, they leave it in the middle of the road and go home. You see an abandoned aboboya sometimes 2 days. If you don't put it on air, there was a day we were driving, we had to literally come on air to say that somebody had left a baller at car price before the mayor had somebody to go and move it. Why? What happened? What happened to us? I was in Ghana in the 80s. It was a bit cleaner. Yes, the system wasn't that crazy, but the people came to your houses. We had these drums at home where we fetch water, because those days there was water problem. Yeah. So you had these black drums, barrels, which had been retrofitted from oil to water. Yeah. The guy would come and look in your tank, and if he checks and there's some chemical you put in the water, kafa or something, he will fine you. He was coming from house to house to check that you were doing the right thing environmentally. We have expanded the Jewish assemblies. We've created these huge tripod things. We don't even have any enforcement of even that. When they come to the front of your house and the gutter is choked, nobody's held accountable. No. People live in estate communities. They don't even contribute money to even weed the common areas. How did we become this irresponsible? How did we? So the least rain, the least extreme weather pattern, people are dying. What is wrong with the people of Ghana? And then we just announced a new project. So now our newspapers are filled with project announcements. How does a project announcement translate into a change in lifestyle? Go to the motorway. Don't drive yourself. Let somebody drive you. From the main, you are going to Tema. Just look on your right. Fly a drone. Sharks. People are living extreme. No toilet in their homes. Any serious country will say, okay, let's even give them some makeshift toilets so they don't do open defecation. We don't do it. We don't. They don't exist. Yet we have assemblies. Now on the motorway there are over 10 assemblies. Tema South or Tema East, Tema itself. Which one? Lekma, Ayawaso West, Wagon. All of them claiming portions of the motorway. Yet you can't even enforce refuse. If you can't manage Bola, what can you manage? Our environmental health officers at the Jewish assemblies need to bow their heads in shame. When those videos are circulating, we need Ghana, we are too dirty. We are too dirty. When you get to asylum down, it's like, why? What is Nathan?
Oh yeah. Alaski, it's very true.
It's annoying. It's sickening.
When you drive through certain parts of Accra, the stench that slaps you.
People must be held responsible. When you hold assemblies responsible, they will become wild. Because every morning they wake up thinking of how to get money. But clean environment is not one of their agenda. If we need to start holding people accountable for dereliction of duty. Let's not politicize this. We are dirty people. People come to your country, you say you want to be... the tourism ministry must join forces to make Accra clean.
Yes.
Because nobody's going to visit a dirty country. Your beaches are full of fey. Your beaches. You can't even walk on a beach without stepping into some. How? How do you have beaches? You carry people to Mauritius, Seychelles, to go on beaches, to see the beauty of the place. People should come to Accra. Go to your beaches. chaka, particularly when you move from the right side. Charlie. So the galamsey is polluting the water body. The human beings are polluting the beaches because they are putting refuse in the odor, which is emptying into the sea, and now people are catching bola instead of fish, and then people are also doing open defecation on the seaside. What happened to the people of Ghana? And we are watching on every day. We are announcing new projects. A country with the kind of ecological challenge we face should have every 5 minutes on every radio station an advert talking about sanitation. Marketplaces should be full of environmental health officers. Our hospitals OPD should be full of people. When people come for hospital treatment, there should be people standing there doing public education about cleanliness. Our schools, school kids, when they go to school, they must sweep. They must be told that you cannot keep bola here. There are school kids who go to toilet on bola in Ghana. There's no toilet. Over 30-something% of our schools don't even have toilets.
Yes.
What kind of society is this? Meanwhile, people have PhDs. We are speaking English every day. We can't even be clean. That you have schools with no toilets. There are districts in Ghana who still do open defecation. How? Are we living in 1855? This is 2024. You travel from Accra to Kumasi, you even have a place of convenience. You go on heritage caravan, you are driving around the country. A society has not had the sense to even build public restrooms. You are driving from Accra to Akosombo, you have to get up and urinate on the roadside because the society is so, everybody is sitting in an air-conditioned car, yet you don't have the common sense to even do public restroom. A public toilet in Mamobi, when you go there, you can't even breathe. What is this? Nathan, what is this? No, it is scandalous. I'm telling you,
pitiable.
It is
pitiable, dismal, pisma. It is regrettable.
Please read some comments for me. Listeners, please, let's be serious. Let's call out people who throw refuse in gutters. Let's become the watchdogs in our society for environmental cleanliness. We all have to become environmental advocates. All of us have to wake up and get angry with this state of dystopia when it comes to refuse management, bola, cleanliness, and all these things. We have to wake up. And the district assemblies, I'm going to get a list of environmental sanitation officers and I'm going to mention it one by one to shame them for not doing their work. DCEs, when you come, you say we should call you honorable. When we do a program and you come, you are angry that we don't give you a seat. What are you doing? What work are you doing? You think this is about being called honorable? When your community is not open defecation free, you are not honorable. When the schools in your district don't have toilets, you are not honorable. When your gutters are choked and it's flooding, you are not honorable. You are not doing any honorable thing. What are you doing? Post is not political suit and speech. Post is going to the ground and making sure things work. It's like in Ghana, we do politics and then when they give us a post, it's now our time to chop. So we just give nice speeches. People don't want to do the work. All we have to positional leaders. Go on the ground. It's about to rain. Go on a tour. Wear a hard hat and kambu, Wellington boots. Go and check the gutters. Have a meeting with all your officers and make a decision about what to do. Call a cleanup exercise. And wear knicker and start. Lead the people. That's what you should do. Join them. Rollins used to do it. He will get into the gutter. He was leading by example. DC is declare a day of cleanup. All of you. Then buy kinky for us to eat when we finish. We will join Saturday morning. All of us will go and clean. No work, no shop, no work, no school, nothing. All of us must go and clean, weed our surroundings, and get the bola properly disposed. Empty the gutters. That's what we do as serious people when the rains are coming. Let's not wait for Garrid or whatever, Conti. Nobody from anywhere is going to save you. If you don't get up and clean your environment, nothing's going to change. And we are saying on air that when flooding comes, don't you dare blame us. Because we've been shouting about this since March. We are not going to take responsibility for the dereliction of political leaders and local governors. We will not take that job. It's not our job to do. Our job is not to go and clean gutters. We will join you when you do it, but you are paid to do it. If you are not getting the tools as an environmental sanitation officer, use the media. Tell us. Don't hide there under incompetence and kind of tell us that, well, there's no resources to do your work.
This one says, my first time in Nairobi, I went to a mart to get some groceries. The lady asked if I needed a bag. And then the lady asked if I needed a bag. And I said yes. And she smiled. I got to my room, checked the receipt, and realized I was charged Then I remembered why the lady smiled. She realized I was new in town. Ha ha ha. This one says, can the municipal assembly clear the silt on the sides of the road on Malam Bridge?
Oh.
It has narrowed the width of the road.
Oh.
Motorbikes are knocking off side mirrors and cars are scratching each other.
So Nathan, that question is a good question. There's a road. There's silt on the road. In a serious country, somebody's work is to clean that silt.
Yes.
We say we have unemployment. We have assemblies working. Nathan, you have a road with silt. You've spent $25 million building a road, and yet you don't have anybody whose job it is to sweep the road. Do you get my point? So what's the wisdom in that? Why do you build a road and you don't put in place a system to keep the road functioning? So you build a road and the silt is washed onto the road because all the median roads, like the connecting roads, don't have asphalt. So you have sand and silt on your road, and drivers are now having to drive in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, somebody sits at home without work to do. It's a failure of leadership. It's a failure.
It is. Huge failure. This one says, mosquitoes are everywhere. One cannot sit outside for fresh air in these doomsday times. Oh. It says, Ben, we are in 2024. Driving in the city of Accra, you can still see people throwing rubbish onto the street from a moving trolley. The mindset is simply corrupt. For me, I give up on this country. This one says, the problem is not how we think. It's about law and enforcement. Once the laws are enforced and people start feeling the pinch, they will do the right thing. This one says, better, the problem could be 50% solved if a policy is implemented to close all our gutters. The open gutters fester the dumping and the temptation to carry out the act by less educated people living near the drains.
Let's deal with that for a minute, Frank. I agree with you that an ideal situation, you have gutters which are covered. But still, if you have an open gutter, you can have open gutters which are not full of bola. If you have a public education dimension, that people know that when you fill the gutter with this thing, it will get choked and breed mosquitoes and kill you. Number two, making all open gutters, covered gutters will take you more money. So sometimes a behavioral change is less expensive than spending millions of dollars. Because if you still empty your bola into a filled drain, it will still get choked at the end. Do you understand my point?
Yes.
So having a sealed drain is only part of the problem. The problem is that you have not enforced people's refuse management. Do you get it? Meanwhile, you have paid millions of dollars to companies allegedly collecting bola. It doesn't make sense. Go on.
All right, this one says, my problem is that there's either no recycling bins or there are few of them around. The people don't even use them. I think the education must start from there. I agree with you. We need to have a lot more bins. We need to do a lot more about recycling. This one says, I don't know who gives out building permits.
Oh.
There's a filling station at the Ebony Junction bus stop.
Oh.
The funny thing is that it's not far from the power station at
So
Ebony.
this is Jowulu. Yeah. Filling station, power station,
All kinds
together.
of things. This one says, our president realized that mere rhetoric works on Ghanaians. He's a walking contradiction. When he says, I'll put my presidency on the line to fight Galamsey, it's become a lost cause. The same thing applies to, I will make Accra the cleanest city in Africa. He didn't mean it. He only says what will sound good in our ears. Now that they've seen that the trick works, Baumia has also adopted it. He will promise us heaven and earth very soon.
This is Isaac from East Yorkshire. He's looking in from outside.
Yeah, this one says, oh, Bella, this bola issue, the institutions that have to regulate this bola thing are just eating and sleeping. It's just Adidas. Yeah, Bamevo. Adidas.
No, I agree. Because, Nathan, if you are in charge of sanitation, see, it rained for 2 hours yesterday. Where is the sanitation minister? Or where is the representative for the sanitation minister?
Absent.
Which websites are they speaking? Which radio stations are they on?
Absent.
You get me? Where is the National Sanitation Day?
Absent.
Where is there's no sense of urgency. People are just there.
That
Why are we
is
even paying
the
these
thing.
guys? Why are we even paying these guys? How can you have a whole ministry with a chief director, deputy directors, you have a sanitation disaster. Where is parliament? Where are the people?
That is the thing.
How do you have a country with such dystopic sanitation management, with people being paid, driving Land Cruisers, and doing jack?
And we have MCs too. And DC MCs. Bro,
come on air, write to the media and say, oh, you are a media house in our area. We want to even do public education on sanitation. You have 500 radio stations in Ghana. If you all spend 5 minutes to come and do public education on sanitation, and even tell us that you are doing programs that we should support you to do,
it will change a lot.
What are you doing?
Oh, I forget it, bro.
All these markets, when you go, you want to collect market too. Have you ever educated people on what they should? Have you ever arrested anybody for sanitation offense and made a public example of them? Why? Charlie, Ghana, we won't say. No, Nathan. Some lady took videos of water bodies in Cote d'Ivoire and sent them to me. You'll be surprised. Cote d'Ivoire, under the same skin color as us. Their water bodies are clean. Ours are just brown. Why? Why? There's something fundamentally wrong with the way we think in this country. I'm telling you.
This was the problem is enforcement and sustainability of the enforcement and loss of policies. Ghana is struggling because of that. If you seriously try to map all our issues, you see the foundational source of all our problems. Aboboya is available on the streets because Azum Lion and other garbage trucks are not reliable to do what they have been mandated to do. So these Aboboyas can't be blamed but be regulated. Park of in Lakeside. Well, look, I kind of.
No, can you repeat that? What did you say?
He says that it's because we have a regulation challenge.
Which is what?
So basically, he's saying that, for example, he says that Boboya is available because the Zoom Line and other registered garbage trucks who are supposed to come and collect the waste or the rubbish, they are not reliable. So now people have to fall on these Aboboyas.
Maybe this is certain communities where the big truck can go.
Now he says we can't blame them, but we need to regulate them.
No.
You don't agree. Anyway, Diodone from Kaswa says, our institutions don't communicate with each other. I agree. For instance, police on the patrol or road patrol should have assemblies numbers, fire service ambulance for emergencies. Let institutions coordinate themselves in the rendering of their service. Interesting. This one says, we've spoken about this issue on paper for too long. I think the best way the media can help is to name and shame municipal assemblies that are not enforcing sanitation laws. Imagine posting images of people who throw refuse indiscriminately. Imagine taking images of these called refuse trucks moving around with refuse.
Yeah, I agree.
This one says, I can feel your pain when it comes to sanitation. Flooding is also another developmental mess. People keep building anywhere and anyhow. Who gives them permits? Many of the waste you see in unauthorized places are done in the night. To be honest, if these Aboboyas are not there doing what you see, I bet the city will be in a more serious mess than we are now.
So why
because
don't we
those who take contracts from government are not doing anything, and government is not holding them accountable.
So why don't we make the Aboboyas work better? Why don't we?
So that's what Park Kofi was saying.
How do you make them work better?
That we regulate them. So, for example, somebody. So what we do is that you issue standards. So you can say that when you bring in a Aboboya, we may have to maybe retrofit for you to have, let's say, a container at the back. Then you can pick certain types of refuse.
So you can say all the blue Aboboya plastic waste, all the brown Aboboya organic waste, all the yellow Aboboya metal.
Very good.
So we know that all the yellow Aboboya. This is not rocket science.
Then that's why I was talking about the recycling and reuse and the concern around landfills, because where do we send the waste?
Good question.
We need to find ways of. See, if you recycle some, not all of it goes to the landfill. So the landfill has greater capacity to take the organic waste.
Nathan, I did a project on recycling when I was doing my MBA. Recycling companies are social enterprises that the state must support. So you can enjoin every assembly to have a recycle company.
Very good.
A PPP to say. They are not there just to recycle because they are making money, but because they are part of the sanitation management ecosystem. So you can have 50% support from government and then some other private person. And then you give them site and you give them subsidies, water or whatever, so they can be part. Because look, as of now, I was in the UK in 2008. Every refuse you take, in front of every dorm are 3 color code refuse bins. Brown,
for this, one for that,
blue,
for that,
and green. Right? And each one has what you can put in it. And this is 2008. How many years ago? 16 years ago. We still don't have a proper waste management, waste segregation program in 2024. Time doesn't change anything. If somebody is determined to be incompetent and stupid, they will be for their whole life. Age doesn't even make you wiser. You can have a young wise man and an old foolish person. Are you gonna say? So we shouldn't think that because we've done democracy for how many 30 years we are better. We are just not thinking. We are not implementing anything. Things are getting worse because now people are moving to 5G and 6G. Even at 3.5G, but we don't get them proper. You can't even manage Bola. How can you compete with other countries? Think about it. You always start with the basics. If you can't manage refuse, is it security and crime you can manage? Do you understand? So we have to wake up and do the basics right. And we shouldn't blame democracy for it. It's bad leadership. It's not, democracy is not telling you that don't do the right thing. We make it seem like democracy is the problem. Why is democracy the problem? People just don't want to lead. People don't know what to do. They are not leading well. You can't tell me that it's because of democracy that you have choked gutters. How is that democracy cause? It's a bad leadership, bad enforcement, lack of competence issue, which we have all glossed over because the person we support him. We need to get serious. We need to get angry and serious.
We need to.
If you see refuse and you're not angry, you are part of the problem. If you see in fact, by the time something that's supposed to annoy you, you are used to it, you've become part of the problem. I'm telling you, Ghanaians, what can we do to make our country clean? What can we make? What difference can we make? Now, I want to say that the responsibility is staggered. Ultimate responsibility lies with the president. He made the promise. So we can all see the promise has not been fulfilled. But we cannot sit here and die because the promise has not been fulfilled. We have to also do something about the lack of proper sanitation. Now, I attend many events where Ghana's wash credentials are always questioned. You know, water, sanitation, health, always. Some districts have done well. Look, there are districts in Ghana through leadership at the local level have become open defecation free. That's a good achievement. But I don't see a nationally coordinated effort to making Ghana cleaner, to making our sanitation credentials do better. I'm going to read some comments. Bernadette Sado, on Sunday, I nearly fought a trotro mate who parked and started throwing rubbish out of the car. Oh, Andy, you nearly fought a trotro mate who was parked and throwing rubbish out of the car. A trotro mate. That's Andy, he's not happy. Bernadette, I've just seen 3 aboboya on the road as you speak. Bernadette, okay, there's more on the sanitation issue. I just want to jump through them before I come to the OSP comments. Bernadette, the basic problem is the lack of refuse collection and disposal system. The MMDAs have assigned private contractors allotments to collect refuse. In my case, the company is supposed to pick up refuse on Wednesday. For the past 2 weeks, my refuse is packed and waiting for the collector to come and pick the refuse. This Wednesday would be 3 weeks. Yet last week, with the refuse uncollected, they sent a revenue collection officer to come and take the money. I sacked them. If no one is ensuring that the refuse is collected by those mandated to do so, citizens would patronize the illegal abobaya or throw refuse into flowing gutters. Political will and enforcement is our bane. And this is coming from a politician. You
just don't want to mention names.
Let me read the message again. He said, the basic problem is the lack of refuse collection and disposal system. The MMDAs have assigned private contractors allotments to collect refuse. In my case, the company is supposed to pick up refuse on Wednesdays. For the past 2 weeks, my refuse is uncollected. Meanwhile, they sent a revenue collection officer to come and take payment. I sacked them. If no one is ensuring that the refuse is collected by those mandated to do so, citizens will patronize the illegal aboboyas or throw refuse into flowing gutters. Political will and enforcement is our bane. Yes, I'm a politician. You know, it's a serious matter. Okay? It's enforcement matter, political will and things. More comments. 054-998-699. Bernadette, this country is a crime scene. Charlie, I want to give up. Don't give up. Don't give up, okay? We'll read a few of your comments as we talk about sanitation and how to manage it in the country. Charlie, somebody said he's eating breakfast listening to me from the US and that I should give him disclaimer before I start using the words I'm using because I've affected his breakfast. That's what I wanted to do. I want to spoil your breakfast so that you will get angry. You will get angry about this. It says, Bernard, I'm listening to you online from the UK. I'm eating. Your descriptions this morning of beaches and streets is too graphic. Let me enjoy my breakfast in peace. By the way, Rotary USAID spent some $4 million on wash projects in 5 years in Ghana. The first 1 year was for the construction. The other 4 years was for the software aspect of the project. And it took about half of the total cost of the project. It included behavioral change, monitoring, and I was privileged to be one of the trained advocates who went into the communities and institutions to ensure and encourage the change we need. During this project, about 95% of the communities achieved open defecation-free status. And it gives me a breakdown. It says about 2 million went into project location, 14 districts, 7 regions, and then we had 180 institutions, 110,000 beneficiary population. Well, let's read some more comments, Nathan.
Yep. Lots and lots of comments. It looks like this issue is on people's hearts. It affects all of us directly. This one says, I agree, it boils down to leadership. Since biblical times, people have needed leadership, stewardship, and direction. Our leaders must lead. End of story. Good leadership will turn this country around in a year. Enough is enough. Many can't see it, but where we are heading as a nation, in a few years, we will be unrecognizable. This one says, what even makes the whole thing annoying is the shout, break the 8. Why not break the baller in the community? I like that. Gifty from Adabraka says, how can we as citizens push for enforcement of environmental laws on sanitation? We may get angry and talk, but how can we ensure enforcement to serve as a deterrent? Well, that's why we have the agencies. They will have to. We are doing our part. We are speaking about it. We have a platform. Okay? And I think what other citizens can do who may not have a platform, if you also can come together in your communities, go to the assemblies. The assemblies have offices. Come together, go there, force and have a meeting. Sit down with the people running the spaces. Let them know that you are unhappy with the sanitation. You know, because that's what we can do. Like I said, we have a platform so we can talk about it. You can send us text messages, great. But you can go ahead and form groups and march to the assembly offices, demand to meet the MC, sit down with that MC and highlight what the challenges are. Highlight what the challenges are and get them to work. Eric from Pokwase says, the sanitation use is terrible. You find people defecating and throwing rubbish around. Pokwase. This one says, the point is our leaders are just pretending to be ignorant because they are benefiting from the uncivilized culture in the country. That's why they are deliberately pretending to ignore their responsibilities. Irresponsible leaders are bad nuts killing this country. Until responsible leaders lead this country of ours, this moronic behavior will not stop.
This is Daniel, East Hospital.
Bernard McCaffrey
in the UK
says he says this colored bean thing you described from 16 years ago is still being used in the UK. I moved here and I didn't need any pastor to tell me to adjust. See, I feel the point you have been making all the time of having the local assembly being applied for and run by people who have a proven track record will go a long way to solve this problem. A similar system is what is working here in the UK. Councils run towns. And this is not rocket science.
Councils are powerful, but here
this one says, I feel we have a big problem. I was shocked when I saw a police officer standing by for one of these Aboboya riders to go past and redistribute rubbish all over without a word. I wonder what kind of society we are in. How on earth can this not matter to a policeman in a uniform?
They hold in phone, they check in own Momo details. You know, they think about the sanitation stuff.
Fred from Bosche says no one is being held accountable for not doing their work. They are getting salaries for doing as little as possible. I think our leaders should be paid according to their output. This should be tried for 6 months and we'll see a drastic change.
I agree with you, Fred from Bosche.
This one is for the people at Zoom Lion. He says they have initiated an online payment system that we are corresponding to. But for about 3 months, they've left our front yard in a messy state.
Zoom Lion.
Even though we've paid.
Zoom Lion.
Pantanyami Chrome. And I'm afraid of a disease breakup.
Zoom Lion.
So the people at Zoom Lion will have to inform.
Read the message again. We'll have to inform. Read the message for them. Read it fully.
He says, please talk about Zoom Lion's waste pickup. They have initiated an online payment that we are corresponding to for about 3 months.
Look at that.
They've left our front yard in a messy state. Even though we've paid, I live at Pantanyami Chrome and I'm afraid of a disease breakup.
All right. Now there's another one on Zoom Lion that's coming as well. I want to read. So this one came in from my friend Albert, and he says, Bernard, the Zoom Lion is a fraud. They are inefficient. They don't come to collect the waste and refuse, but they keep sending us bills. Zoom Lion, Sophia and Co. Please, are you listening to the program we are doing? Are you listening to the program? Zoom Lion, are you doing your work? Zoom Lion people, read more messages for me.
All right.
You've been in this business for how long? You can't do a recycling program. You can't even give us recycle. We are all putting all the baller together. With all the things you are doing, China trips and things, and the awards you are collecting. Zoom Lion, no. Stop that thing.
Surface from.
No, I'm talking to Zoom Lion.
Yeah.
You can't be a big company with. You are the leader in the sanitation business. Why don't we have a recycling program? Why are we still mixing baller? Sophia, please, I need to hear from you this week. Do your work. Seriously. The Ghana and I have too much. And you are the leading sanitation management company. You have to take some of the responsibility. You are the largest waste management company in West Africa. I think that's what you want to say. Good. So if you are the largest, you have to take the largest blame. That's what being the largest means. It's not collecting awards. Wake up and do the work.
This one says the color bin system will not work. Even in corporate offices, people put plastic waste in general waste bins when it's boldly written.
You can
there.
train them. You can punish them.
Punish them.
We have cameras here. We have cameras here. Sometimes when you do something, we'll catch you, and we'll punish you, we'll suspend you. So you stop, go and learn sense. Sit home at 2 weeks. When you sit home for 2 weeks, you think. When your salary is halved, you think next time you want to do that thing.
Surface from Ashalibu.
It will work, Papa.
Yeah, this one says our leaders have failed to enforce the laws in our society. All they do is to find ways to enrich themselves.
Look at that.
Without looking into the actual problems. From top to bottom, they are all corrupt. The realization starts from us. If we want the system to work, then it must start from us, the citizens. Then we can hold our leaders accountable. Probity and accountability. From Poma saying that.
Environmental Service Providers Association, ESPA. Fred, what is that lady's name? ESPA. What are they doing? ESPA. They have office at East Legon. Come and remove your mouth. Why are people bother not being collected and you are collecting this thing bill? If you have a problem, won't you communicate it? So people's refuse is left in the house for 2 weeks. ESPA, what are you doing? Wake up, ESPA, wake up. Nathan, continue.
All right. This one says our refuse containers and bags have been outside since March 2024.
March 2024.
Yeah, it says the assemblies don't care. Doji in Danfa.
March 2024. So this is a month and a half.
Yeah.
Go on.
This one says Fidelis in Asitrai Junction says our leaders are waiting for a disaster to strike for them to profiteer. The money for dredging is languishing in someone's account.
Accra is filthy. Let's not wait for the rains to come and destroy everything. Let's wake up. Saturdays are coming. Cleaning up pesticides, cleaning gutters. Zoom Lion, please wake up. Please wake up. Please wake up. Take responsibility. You say you are the biggest waste collection company in West Africa. Well, you deserve the biggest. What do you call it? The biggest lashes. Yes. If you are the biggest. What are you talking about? To whom much is given, much is expected. You have all the big contracts. Do the work. How can Accra be dirty like this and you are just walking around? Go and buy equipment and start spraying the system. Start clearing the gutters. Wear orange overalls and organize the members. Where is the sanitation minister designate? What is she doing? Some ministers are moving. Information minister designate is moving. Sanitation minister, go and wear Wellington boots.
The sanitation?
Wear Wellington boots. Call local government minister. And start working. They should enter the town. Even the agency of letting people know that we want to do something. Get all these garage project people. You must not sit in your office. No. This week you must be, every week you are somewhere. Go to the major flood prone areas. Do public education. Talk to the people. Organize their best. Organize cleanup. Let's get serious. Wait, then there will be cholera outbreak. Then we'll now go and look for World Bank money to go and do something. What is that? Everybody is just looking. Everybody is waiting for the candidate. Oh, Baumia is here. Mahama is here. Go and do the work. You are waiting for who to do what? Let's get serious, people of Ghana. Let's get serious with sanitation. Let's get serious with sanitation. No tourist is going to visit the country that has dirty gutters and things. So that's this tourism thing we are talking. We can't even do proper sanitation. Every day we are collecting awards. What awards? We're mounting more pressure on the system. Garrett Project, Ministry of Sanitation, Zoom Lion, show leadership. Let's make our cities clean again.